Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch, and as you can see, the trailer is now empty, which means we made the long-awaited trip down to the new shop. You've been waiting, I've been waiting. Today is a good day, although not the day we expected when we started off this year with our search for a new shop. As y'all know, that went a bit sideways, so we didn't find the new Lost Cause Ranch headquarters. Today, we're gonna check out what I guess we'll consider the Lost Cause Ranch Tailquarters. Well, we just made a trip out to my favorite store. Yes, the good old Menards, because the new place, it needs some work. Bit of a project, you might say, which, I mean, is probably not shocking to you. It needs some cleanup and it needs some work, but before we can do that, we need to get a little bit of light in the one area, then we can show you what we got ourselves into. It's a treat. Universal key. Grab all the big chunks of insulation that fell. I don't know if that's a good thing that we can see more in here. Yep, you know it, another trip to Menards. This time with the six-wheeler because these don't quite fit in the back of the Range Rover. So a little bit of light didn't exactly help the situation. We got a tad bit of insulation to clean up. There's just some that has fallen from the ceilings due to time and probably a couple leaks. But we just had a big rainstorm and there isn't a bunch of water sitting on the ground, so I don't think it's active leaks. Really, I just think it's the paper backing giving up the ghost over time. But we obviously switched from the Range Rover to the six-wheeler to grab some shelves. Those shelves will end up in there. But right here's the main reason why we made that run. I forgot to bring a respirator from the car wash. Who knows what is laying on the ground here that we're gonna be sweeping up. I'd much rather not breathe that in. But what you're looking at here is 3,200 square feet of space. And this is not the workshop or anything that we're gonna be using besides storage. This will be parts storage, vehicle storage, and it is nearly double what the car wash is in square footage in just storage. So I'm super excited about that. It's kind of an interesting building and we'll go over that a little bit later. Also, it's not my building. We'll also go over that a little bit later. In addition to that, once we get this side cleaned up, we'll go over what is behind that door and that door. That there is the real star of the show, but like I said, this is the Tailquarters, not the headquarters, so don't get your hopes too high. Well, at least for the moment. Now this is definitely one of those cleanup jobs that's going to take multiple times of sweeping, but we'll get the initial one out of the way. We just about have the big open section cleaned up for the first time. Well, we're slightly better looking in here. It actually looks like it's something that we could use. We still got to clean out the individual storage units. Yes, it has indoor individual storage units. All those have roll-up doors that work, and they are vehicle size. There's 8 of them in there, so we can do 8 vehicles in there. But we're not going to stick just vehicles in there. We're going to have some parts in there as well. These will kind of make up some of what we use the storage container for at the car wash. But man, I'm starting to feel better. I was a little worried when I first got in here that this might have been a mistake, but if we look at it now, we can go 2 wide with vehicles. And if we figure 1 for every 2 storage units, if we're parking them this way, That's another 8 vehicles in here, and that's if we leave space in between them. If we tuck them tight, theoretically, I think we can get probably 20 back here under cover. That is incredible to me, and we still haven't even touched that side of the shop yet. Man, it is hot with all the gear on, but it's time to clean out these guys. And look at that setup. This is actually spray foamed in here, so I don't know what we'll do with this. But speaking of needing the respirator, we got a bunch of raccoon fur and who knows what else in there. Apparently we got to clean up after Dirty Mike and the boys. You know, I don't know what it is about me and frickin' raccoons. Got quite the storied history with these guys. There's almost a whole raccoon there. So I found a little bit of a buddy. New shop pet. I think that's enough cleaning for one night. We'll get these guys into the shop here. Guy could probably use that forklift down here. Sure do love the 6-wheeler though. Thing is handy as all get out. So the next morning took a slight intermission from cleaning up the new shop and went up to Minnesota with Ted. Interesting day. Love to see I'm not the only one with 405 in a trailer. What we did is went to the pickup day for the Bishop and Rook bankruptcy auction. I'd say there was an awful lot of interesting stuff hanging up around there. And we got more Rovers towing Rover stuff. And by the looks of it, some of it was hanging up there for quite some time. And here is the main thing we were after. Probably should have bought that one too, but I screwed up. But no, bought a 110 galvanized chassis from Richards. And here is Ted and I loading that up onto the trailer. This auction was for Bishop and Rook, which was a Defender restoration shop up in Minnesota. In addition to the chassis, got a transmission flush machine. Ted got a couple sets of wheels. You know, the kind of stuff a guy just needs. So we're going to use some of the Temu ratchet straps that came with the P38. I think we have 1 or 2 days left on the Doug DeMuro death clock, and this might be just what finishes us off. I wasn't quite sure with eating up a day this weekend with all we have to move and whatnot on whether or not this would be worth it, but I'm happy. I think it was worth it. Worth it. Never have too many Rover bits. Now what should we do with this? Now here's one I should have bought, but I messed up bidding and missed it. The auction on the site was kind of hard to handle, and it's a straight parts one, but if we look, oh, can you see it? Yep, right there. You know, if I was ever to have a bankruptcy auction, this appears to be about what it would look like. Looks right to me. But I will say it was kind of neat just walking around. It would have been neat to see it before all the stuff got picked up. Also decided to be Fat Joe and have a donut cheeseburger on the way home. We're back with the Range Rover hooked up. The X-Mod gets to have the honor of being the first Rover at the shop. Got a monumental little moment going on here. We are just about to load the first Rover into the Tailquarters. And here you guys thought I was going to be done pushing stuff with the new place. Not a chance. We just have to push them further is all. So I think eventually we're going to stick the X-Mod right in there because this lines up with that door. And we're going to start working on that one pretty soon here. But this just gives you a little bit of perspective on the size. Let's just keep walking. And we're going to 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 keep walking. And here, we're at the other end. I think this should do for some storage. And speaking of storage, look at, we got a chassis room. But no, Ted and I just dumped that off the trailer last night along with the transmission flush machine. But I think it's time to peek into the other side here so we can explain exactly what we're doing with the new space. So like I said, back here is primarily just storage. But as MTV Cribs would say, behind me is where all the magic's gonna happen. And it's nice because we get to walk right into this space. And we also have that space. It's a little dim and dingy on this side right now, but that's gonna be addressed here soon. But what you're looking at right here is the future home of the Lost Cause Ranch Fab Shop stuff. The little side that we packed to full with fabrication equipment like the CNC mill, CNC lathe, CNC plasma, CNC press brake at the car wash is now gonna be housed right here. And right here is 1,056 square feet, which is more than double what we were using before on the single bay at the car wash. We also have a garage door access to the front of the building with a pass-through back to the storage area. You can see the X-Mod right there. But over here is a little bit more of the star of the show. And in here is going to be the new workshop for the Lost Cause Ranch. The new Tailquarters workshop, as one would say. We have a nice 12-foot high door there, 9-foot high door there, windows out to the front. We'll talk about why we aren't out front in just a second, but this right here is 1,300 square feet on its own. In addition to that, we have 2,350 square feet to play with that is going to be heated, conditioned, and shortly going to look a lot nicer. Both the side we're in right now and that side where the machine stuff is going to go is all going to get relined with steel steel tin. Is that even a thing? But relined with new metal, and it'll be nice, bright, and white, which is gonna make this a great space to work in. So like I said, 2,350 square feet will be our work area. That'll be the heated, conditioned, and nicely lit section of the shop. It is 550 square feet larger than the car wash. The car wash was 1,800 square feet under roof, coupled with the 3,200 square feet back here is just gonna be a game changer for us here at the Lost Cause Ranch. I'm not gonna go too crazy and buying more stuff. I'm just gonna be able to have all my stuff pretty much under roof in one place, out of the weather, and I'm super excited about that. And our work area will not be cluttered because we'll just be able to have the ones that we're working on in here. So more than likely in this 1,300 square feet here, there will never be more than 2 of them, and maybe 1 over here, because we can store the stuff that we're not currently working on back here and just pull them right on through or around the side of the building. That's gonna make life much better for us. My ADD brain has been fried this past few months because, as you know, back in the spring, we were purchasing a new location and that didn't come together. But the problem with that is that location was much larger than we currently had, and I started buying other stuff in preparation of having that extra space, and we just made the car wash a complete disaster. And it just fried my brain because it could not get organized with the amount of stuff I had and the space I had. This space will let me sort my life out while getting a bunch of stuff done. It's gonna be so incredibly nice to not have to rearrange the entire shop just to work on something. I spent half my life moving stuff around. Now we're just gonna have stuff have its place. We're gonna be able to add some more tools. We're gonna probably add a tire machine and balancer and probably some other neat tools. And who am I kidding? Probably a couple neat Rovers as well. But speaking of purchasing a building, that is still on the horizon. I do not own this place. It's kind of a weird feeling. I've owned my personal shop or dealership or business shop since 2014, and this will be the first time renting in 12 years. Good news is this is owned by a buddy of ours. Ironically, full circle, back in 2014, we purchased our dealership building off this same gentleman, but we brokered a deal together that is going to work out for both of us. We're going to make this a pretty nice place. We have a reasonable rate, and we do some work back and forth quite a bit, and this is close to their other place. So all around, this is just going to work out well, even though I don't own it, which, like I said, is weird, but this gives us time to find the perfect place for the headquarters of the Lost Cause Ranch. This is the Tailquarters. We're still going to be on the search for the headquarters, and who knows? This is the right enough deal, and we'll end up being a decent space. We may just keep this for quite some time as well. So the next few videos will be us moving into here and measuring stuff out, ordering stuff, laying stuff out. I need to get a couple vehicles on this side so we can figure out what we're doing with lift situation. We're also going to get out front and show you that, but there is some fence stuff that is getting changed. We want to keep the other people at the building over there happy as well, so we're going to rearrange the fencing and everything, and then we'll show you that. But there you have it. This is the Lost Cause Ranch Tailquarters. Let me know what you guys think, and I am super happy to have what is more than triple the space we had at the car wash, and this will be an awesome place. We'll be able to take on some more stuff, get some more stuff accomplished, and this really alleviates the pressure I kind of created on myself with the situation of the entire year after we had the failed building purchase. I didn't want to go through winter and have the guy who bought the car wash not have the building he bought. He said I could stay as long as I needed, but he bought the building to use it. I didn't want to be that guy that prevented that. So we found ourselves a good spot to hang out in the time being. So that means over the next couple years, you guys are going to get to watch a lot of shop updates here, shop updates at a new building, and who knows, maybe some other stuff too. We're probably going to work on some Rovers too. But next video, we'll get some more stuff moved and we'll get our shelves, these guys right here, set up so we can start jockeying stuff over here. It's going to be a whirlwind couple weeks. We'll dabble in some LR4 and lightweight content in between all of it because we're going to still be working in the car wash as we transition to here until we get this set up. It'll be fun. Hope you guys stay tuned. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you subscribing. And we will catch you on Thursday with hopefully a load more Rovers in here. We might even have a new Rover to go pick up. Good thing we got extra space.